Before the mid-20th century, Kazakhstan was predominantly rural. Nomadic traditions had shaped our way of life for centuries. But the Soviet Union had a different vision, that cities would become the centers of economic and social life. Between 1950 and 1980, Kazakhstan underwent one of the most dramatic urban transformations in its history. Rural populations were drawn into growing cities as part of planned Soviet policies. The goal is to create a highly urbanized industrial workforce. But was urbanization a smooth process? The answer is far more complex.
Kazakhstan's urbanization was driven by state policies. New cities emerged, while existing ones expanded at unprecedented rates. Almaty becomes a cultural and political capital, while Karaganda, Pavlodar, and Temirtau grew into major urban centers. Between 1959 and 1970, the urban population of Kazakhstan increased from 44 to 56 persons. Thousands of rural residents migrated to cities, looking for jobs, better living standards, and educational opportunities. At the same time, the government built mass housing projects, known as Khrushchevkas, to accommodate the growing population. By 1980, over half of Kazakhstan's population lived in cities, marking a major demographic shift.
Urbanization didn't just change the landscape, it transformed Kazakh society. Rural to urban migration brought together people of different ethnicities, backgrounds, and languages. Russian became the dominant language in many urban areas, and Kazakh culture was often sidelined in favor of Soviet ideals. The Kazakh language lost prominence in administration and education. By 1979, ethnic Kazakhs made up only 36% of the total population. By 1980, only 25% of students in Almaty schools were taught in Kazakh.
While urbanization brought opportunities, it also created serious challenges. Housing shortages became a major issue as cities struggled to accommodate the rapid influx of migrants. The Soviet government's response was mass housing projects. These standardized apartments, known as Khrushchevkas, were built quickly but lacked space and comfort. Entire families lived in cramped two-room flats, often sharing bathrooms and kitchen with neighbors. Public transport was overcrowded and city services struggled to keep up with demand. Pollution from factories, poor road conditions, and the lack of green spaces became serious concerns. For many, urban life was a mix of new opportunities and daily struggles.
The urbanization of Kazakhstan in the Soviet period laid the foundation for the cities we know today. It brought infrastructure, industrial development, and modern education. But it also created social and environmental challenges that we continue to address. Today, Kazakhstan's cities reflect a blend of Soviet legacy and independent powers.
The challenge for the future is to create sustainable, inclusive, and culturally rich urban environments that honor our history while embracing innovation. Today, over 60% of Kazakhstan population lives in urban areas, a continuation of the Soviet-era trend.
Urbanization transformed Kazakhstan's way of life. It brought modernization, but also cultural and social challenges. Despite changes, Kazakh identity persisted and evolved. Now, our task is to build cities that balance history and progress.